We are definitely in the age of the global human. I see more and more evidence of this. The fact that we have this internet to share our unique ideas and information. And even though we live in a world of censorship, there's just an explosion in the amount of new concepts that are reaching the masses. And we are seeing, various degrees of critical mass taking place, regardless of how many quote-unquote sheeple that we continue to see believe in the same old thing. It's like there really are different realities, parallel realities. Some people waking up and some people going into a deeper state of slumber. We're at an advantage that we have information that we can share that might help those that are going into a deeper state of slumber. First and foremost, that they have free will, that they have an option here. And there are choices around them, options around them that they may not know that they have. They may have talents that they may not be cognitive that they have. So in a way, it seems very natural, it seems very normal that, we're in a society of coexistence where you have people that are seeking to become more enlightened, more aware, more conscious, and others that are in oblivion. And drug addiction is a fantastic metaphor for what we're talking about here, because, there are many addictions that people are enslaved to this very day, despite all the advances in technology and this free flow of information. We're seeing a lot of people still stuck in the old ways. But this same technological apparatus is something that has helped many, and I'm saying this in a non-New World Order kind of way, a global citizen. And I'm saying that outside of the box of how the Illuminati, how the New World Order would like humanity to end up with a bunch of global citizens. But the internet has created a de facto world where there is the global reporter, to put it another way, or the global voice, where someone can be heard across the nation by people from different ethnic backgrounds. And even though we have been facing these so-called threats to internet free speech for a long, long time now, what we also see is just this opening. There's actually more people now, I believe, I've heard, that are in China that are communicating with people in the United States. And I think that this is really a very important opportunity that we, the truth seekers and truth presenters, should seize upon. As the firewall opens up a little bit in the name of big business and other things, we need to start exploring those outlets, options, those possibilities at getting the message out to a much larger audience. And in fact, we're talking about a global audience. We're talking about the people of Russia. We're talking about the people of China. We're talking about the people in South America. We're talking about the people in Afghanistan. This is not just, and I know this is obvious, but I'm just saying this at the moment to review. This is not just about the United States and our media and our opinions and our voice. A true people's voice. I know David Icke is trying his best to create a people's voice, and I have always thought that a quality alternative media network would encompass different ethnic backgrounds, talking about issues in different parts of the world, and featuring the very best of what the grassroots alternative media has to offer. What is best, that's a relative thing. I just said that in terms of my opinion, but there needs to be a number of people's opinion considered when it comes to what is the best that the grassroots has to offer when you're setting up an alternative media network that supposedly is going to be the people's voice. I wish David Icke luck, and I wish others luck that are also working to set up their own people's voice. But this is the age of the global reporter. This is the age of the global voice, the people's voice. Despite all this madness and drama and other things that we see taking place in the world right now, there still is this explosion. It's just going straight up like a waterfall, up and out and down, up and out and down, kind of like the magnetic field that is around the planet. We need to seize upon that conduit of energy, harness it, in the same way that we should harness the power of the sun. Right now, we're at solar maximum. The sun's magnetic poles are about to reverse. This is the time to write a book. This is the time to produce a movie. This is the time to protest. This is the time to potentially move. And these are times where, whether you're aware of these solar effects on human consciousness or not, these are the times where we are seeing those changes. And we do feel those changes. And it's better to know about the changes so we can make it a positive thing instead of a negative thing. I'm seeing so many people talk about their anxiety and their stress, and none of them, literally almost none of them, are connecting that with the sun. We can make it a positive thing, and I have seen in the last year just so many people talk about alternative media network. And it was during the last solar cycle, following the peak of it, that I saw an explosion in the alternative media and got interested in it myself. I'm seeing this cycle come around again. Another renaissance of alternative media, independent voices, grassroots media. It's exploding. And despite the fact that we've got so many things going on in the world that seem frightening, that seem threatening, the number of websites being created just keeps going up, and away. And even though there have been some examples of political prisoners, people being locked up, the police state, the surveillance society, websites going down, censorship, at the same time, we're still seeing this trajectory going almost straight up of things being produced and still available at this time on the internet. And as I said earlier, this World Wide Web is expanding still. And even though there are attempts to keep the people of China away from the people of the United States, I'm seeing things changing where there is more connection between the people of China and the people of the United States. Because of the interests of big business and other things, there are more sites that are connecting people from around the world. I say, instead of waiting for the end of the world, we should be working on building a better world tomorrow, despite how terrifying things seem to be and how terrifying our own government seems to be if we speak out or if we're labeled a conspiracy theorist. I'm beyond that. Some people have yet to get beyond that fear of what could happen to them. That's their business, that's their job. For right now, I'm here telling you we should seize upon this ability to be a global reporter and work to reach the people of the world. And that means discussing issues that are taking place all around the world. And that does not involve America being the center of the universe when we're discussing the world at large. And today there are far too many people that, like a religion, do happen to believe that America is the center of the world, whether it falls or whether it survives. And whether or not you have that opinion, the point is there's a larger world out there that we all could do a part in reaching. There's so many issues taking place on this globe that truly is a globe without borders. And I'm not using New World Order language here to get you into a globalist mindset, but when you look at the planet using Google Earth or perhaps a globe that you had back in school decades ago, the globes that spin, even though you see individual lines, there's still one globe, there's still one chunk of land here, there's still one continent. These borders, these languages, these arbitrary lines and arbitrary, really insignificant differences between us are things that mankind has created. And mankind, womankind, has a right to do so, to create their own territories, to create their own cultures, to create their own understandings. But on a larger scale, we're still sharing the same earth. So when we look at things like Fukushima, we see that this is not just affecting Japan, this is affecting the whole earth. When we look at issues like depleted uranium, this is not an issue that's just affecting the Middle East. This is affecting the whole earth. When we look at issues like drones, this is not just an issue that affects Afghanistan and Iraq. Drones are in the U.S., and we're probably going to see more reports about drones in other countries. They are in Russia. They're probably in China as well, spying on their people. This is the global issue. So in the age of the global reporter, forgive the language global citizen, but we are in a world of increased globalization, and so there are things that we could talk about that affect all of us. We have that ability to reach people, and I often think of documentary films that could be translated into Chinese, into Russian, into other languages. If the technological apparatus is currently moving in a place where we can communicate with more people from around the world that speak different languages, I say it's worth the effort to try to bring us together, not under a one world government, but under a global effort, a loosely organized, an effort based on a global resistance to tyranny, a global resistance to this plan to build a one world government, a global resistance to these plans to stage World War III and pit Chinamen against the Russian, against the American. This China, Russia, American superpower setup, this World War III scenario that is clearly in the works, is a very dangerous scenario, and it is designed to create terror and fear on the planet. And I don't believe this is coming tomorrow, but it's coming at some point in our future. I think we can avert it. And even though some things are going to be staged, whether they be false flags or other events that lead us into war or lead our country into greater levels of debt, it's still important to work to wake up the minds of those around the globe that these things are taking place, that our so-called leaders are actually working behind the scenes. So while they have domestic terror drills where they involve foreign troops from other countries, we've seen so many examples of this. Now China's training in Hawaii. Russia was invited to Colorado last year. This is evidence that our own government is in fact training foreign troops to operate on U.S. soil one day. But at the same time, these preparations for war are being made. Larger missiles, larger bombs, missile defense shields. And we see all this propaganda in the newspapers. And of course, North Korea is this controlled wild card. Whenever they need a distraction, North Korea gets the cue, gets the thumbs up to start saying the things that they're saying. That gets the whole world to look in that direction with total fear that North Korea is going to nuke Hawaii, or North Korea is going to nuke Colorado Springs, or North Korea is going to nuke Los Angeles or Japan. And I think this is a completely controlled situation when you look at North Korea and the powers behind North Korea. And you can find them in China, but you can also find them in Europe and the United States. So there is a shadow elite, there is a new world order, and there are powers that operate beyond what you see from the Bilderberg Group, beyond what you see from the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations, and other related affiliate groups. And that's the point. The point is, because this is sophisticated, because China has their own secret societies, because Russia has their own secret societies, we should be in the age of the global reporter, working with people from other cultures, people that speak other languages. And we should work now, while we have the ability, to translate our information to the other side and translate what they know into English. Wouldn't you like to read a book written by someone in China? And I apologize for the Chinaman term earlier. I love the Chinese culture. I love martial arts. I love Chinese food. I love Chinese art. That word was meant in a loose term. And I believe that we're all connected beyond this illusion of race in so many different ways. And that's why I feel so passionate why I'm making this video right now. That I think that this is something people should be working to do, working to achieve, to translate the information from others. Think about a book written by someone in China about their secret societies, their triads, and how that links up with the New World Order, with global drug running, because we know it does link in. We do know they're involved in drug running. We do know the CIA is involved in drug running, and the CIA was set up by the Skull and Bone Society. The CIA was created out of the OSS, and so a lot of the players that were involved in running those organizations, you can trace to these secret societies. How is China any different? How is Russia any different? Especially when you look at the background of Putin and you see all the Masonic emblems that he is using. So I am advocating the reaching out across the sea, if you will, mentality. And I'm encouraging people to think outside the box of U.S. politics and what's happening here, including, I suggest people think outside the box of thinking that the United States is behind the whole New World Order agenda. I think that is flawed thinking, and the Illuminati came from Europe anyway, and they've been involved in setting up a lot of corrupt institutions, also known as governments, around the world. And that includes Russia, that includes China. There's a lot of books written in the 70s and 80s, none dare call it conspiracy. Gary Allen, when you learn about the bankers creating communism, so capitalism has this offshoot, so they can play good cop, bad cop to the world at large. When you learn that level of history, how can you not question what's taking place in this particular day and age? Thank you all for watching, and of course the website is alexansary.tv. Please sign up to the newsletter if you haven't already so you can get my future updates by email.